What? Why are you shaking your head?
You're welcome.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Underdog Drafter Party. I'm Ryan Heath, hosting tonight because our friend Jake Tribbey unfortunately popped up on the injury report midweek with a hurricane-induced power outage. But luckily for us, I am joined by the man who makes everything work around here, uber sharp fantasy points projection czar, Chris Wecht. Chris and I are going to break down the slate. We're going to discuss who he's projecting well above their Battle Royale ADP, and then we'll hop into a few drafts and we'll put our takes to the test. Chris, how are you doing tonight, man?
Doing good. Yeah, happy to be here. Unfortunately, Jake couldn't be here, and he's not having, I'm sure, as good of a night doing some underdog drafts. But yeah, I did a couple drafts so far this week. I did a few last night, a few Wednesday night, and I think every single night that's gone along, the slate has been totally flipped on its head. So whatever we say tonight, we'll see if that's even true tomorrow.
Yeah, man, it's been, I'm sure, much worse for you having to update the projections constantly. But yeah, just in my articles and my content, I feel like every single night, I agree, I'm deleting stuff and starting over. It's been, yeah, crazy injury week. With that said, let's jump into the slate here. We'll start here at the quarterback position. Chris, anything jumping out to you at quarterback this week?
Yeah, so it seems like Kyler is the clear QB1 in terms of ADP. The Jaden Daniels and Hurts are right behind them. I think all three of those guys are basically equivalent. Those are like, if I could get one QB every draft, it'd be one of those three. And two of them you probably don't even really have to worry about stacking with Daniels and Hurts, just because. And Hurts, we'll talk about receiver in a little bit. Hurts now has a pretty sneaky and easy stacking partner with A.J. Brown, who goes undrafted quite often, and he's now questionable, which was more than what I thought he would be heading into this week. We don't have him projected in or anything, but you with the swap and being able to, if he doesn't play suit up, you'd only be swapping like for another 6th round pick. So I think Hurts is easy to stack with. Daniels, you don't have to stack with. And Kyler, obviously, it would be nice to get Marvin Harrison Jr., but I think he's still fine without him as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. I've been drafting Daniels the most so far, but I have kind of realized that Kyler, while it's difficult to stack him with Harrison, especially if you're drafting like towards the front, I think there's enough value on this slate where you can get away with doing a Kyler plus Marvin Harrison reach if you're drafting like at the back at the 1-2 turn. You can do that and still come away with some really solid projections elsewhere at running back, at tight end. So that's something I'm going to start mixing in a lot more when I'm drafting towards the back. As far as scroll downs, I don't know if this is the week to scroll down necessarily. Just not a lot of like high total games, not a lot of stacks I'm super excited about. I do like Brock Purdy. I do like Sam Darnold. I'm gonna have decent exposure to each of them. But is there anyone kind of getting weird at quarterback that you're into, Chris?
I think the three that stand out to me the most would be Baker against Philly's defense, who previous to the Saints game, they were getting lit up pretty good in the secondary. And we've seen Baker have good games. He's easy to stack with. Andy Dalton, first QB to go for 300 yards and 3 pass TDs this season, and gets a Bengals secondary that Jaden Daniels absolutely shredded in his 3rd career NFL football game. So that definitely has some shootout potential there. And then Jordan Love is pretty interesting. He played very well in the first game, played very well at the end of the last season. Minnesota defense has been tough, but they've had a pretty good offense. So there's a chance that game could get a little more high scoring than we think.
Yeah, I totally agree. I absolutely love Green Bay and Minnesota as kind of a sneaky, underrated shootout environment. I just think the Packers are a lot better equipped to deal with what like Brian Flores loves to do than CJ Stroud necessarily was. And yeah, I mean, we've seen the Vikings be an efficient passing game so far this season. So Yeah, I like that a lot. Let's move over to the running back position. It's kind of a weird week at running back. We've had through the first few weeks, I've felt pretty strongly about you need to get your running backs early. Uh, I don't know if I feel that way at all this week. I think we have Saquon Barkley projected kind of head and shoulders above everybody else. So I do think he's the clear 101. I wouldn't be getting off of him at all whenever I'm drafting from the 101. But I think there's a lot of value at the position on this slate. Like you can get your Kyron Williamses, your Alvin Kamara's, all these guys project pretty well. And you can get them well into round 2. And even scrolling down further, I absolutely love Brian Robinson this week. He is great leverage off of a Jaden Daniels, who I think is the best quarterback play. So that's always nice to be in a high total game. And if you don't draft Daniels, and Robinson is great in my opinion. And there's a couple scroll downs I like too. So I don't want to hog all the takes here though, Chris. What are you seeing in the running back position?
Yeah, the Brian Robinson one is huge, I think, especially if you don't get Daniels. It's perfect leverage. He's almost always there in your last round. Great pick. Najee also looks pretty good with Jalen Warren out. I mean, he's going to get a bell cow workload, and you're getting him at a 6th round price. Aaron Jones and Josh Jacobs, so with like what we just talked about with the Green Bay Minnesota game, they would come along for the ride there if the game does start to get high scoring. And both are defenses that you probably can run on pretty good. The Vikings, I know have looked good, but they haven't faced a lot of like strong rushing attacks yet. Jacobs will probably be the first one for them. And then the Packers have been a run defense nightmare for like 3 years in a row now. So definitely like Aaron Jones this week. Yeah, I think that's probably about as far down as I really want to be scrolling. There's not too many like super big flyers, but I don't think you need to go any farther than that. I think, like you said, it's just easy to get the guys you want. The top couple guys, we're actually a little bit lower on in our ranks than ADP. So like I'm not getting a ton of Breece Hall. That's a tough game environment for him. They've been mixing in Braylon Allen. There's word on the street that they want to mix in Isaiah Davis more. Not that Breece can't still have a huge game, but at 2.6 ADP, that's probably a little high. Bijan, we are, pretty much right at ADP with Kamara, same thing. Jordan Mason, tough New England rush or defense as a whole, and maybe Debo and Kittle are back, so he doesn't look as awesome. So I kind of like bypass, like take your Barkley, take your Kyron, take your Bijan, take your Kamara, but then I kind of like bypassing a little bit and waiting for Brian Robinson, Najee, Aaron Jones, James Conner, even too. I didn't mention him yet. Any of those guys.
Yeah, no, I think that's very sharp. It seems like I agree with what you said earlier about I don't think you have to go past Najee, which it is weird to say. I just said that this slate is deep, but it's because kind of everyone to Najee projects pretty well, or at least not that far below like a Breece Hall or like a Jordan Mason. So yeah, I do think you can wait, and I agree on kind of the Breece Hall fade as well. Unfortunately, I have a lot of bags in season long, but yeah, probably not the week with the utilization of Allen you've been talking about. All right, moving over to wide receiver. So there's also a lot of value at wide receiver on this slate. So I have been taking a lot of Justin Jefferson in round 1. He's kind of my pick 2, pick 3 sort of go-to. So going to end up with a decent bit of exposure there. I think that Collins and Harrison and Rice are all pretty strong, kind of in round 2 or at the 1-2 turn. And then Deontay Johnson, man, I have no idea why his ADP is this low. You can get him in round 4 and round 5 in every single draft. But look what he just did with Andy Dalton. This guy finished as a top 10 fantasy receiver last time he had better than bottom 3 quarterback play. He just did it again last week. Like what are we doing here? I don't understand. But what are you seeing at wide receiver this week, Chris?
Yeah, I very much agree with most of what you just said. In the first round, if I'm not getting Saquon at the 101, I'm pretty much leaving every single draft with one of Rashi, Jefferson, or Nico. I think they're in a tier of their own. I like all of them. Um, I probably would take Jefferson first just because he goes the earliest, and I would want to make sure I have some exposure to him. But I think Nico and Rashi also deserve to be first round wide receivers. Um, Kind of passing on like Jamar Chase. It's a good matchup, but Chase's usage is just very weird, especially this year. It's very streaky. Like he can have a game like he had just had against the Commanders where he goes off, but the ways they're using him in the offense is not like some of these other receivers like Jefferson and Rice, where he's going to get high leverage, horizontally breaking your routes over and over again. That will lead to huge fantasy scores. He definitely can do it, but he also might leave you with like 10 points, and that's just not going to cut it. And when there's these other really nice options. Yeah, I don't get the Deontay thing. I think I was like, maybe it's the groin thing. I don't love that I think was he DNP or limited today? I forget. It was one of the two. Um, so I don't love
I
that,
think he
but
was DNP yesterday, limited today, but he came out and said it was because of the field conditions, right? It wasn't with his
yeah, that's
actual
right.
injury. Yeah.
Yeah, it was something like that. So maybe that was what's keeping him down, is that people got a little spooked off there. And I mean, and he's just a pant. Yeah, he was limited today. All right, so he's trending in the right direction. He's probably going to play. Yeah, his projection when I first ran it this week was way too high. Like he was like he was like a top 3 wide receiver, I think. And I was like, I got to go back and look at the numbers a little bit and move some things around. But he had like well over a 30% target share. Andy Dalton's a functional quarterback. This is the exact same thing Malik Neighbors is getting, and people are obsessed with Malik Neighbors. You get well over 30% of your team's targets. It doesn't matter how efficient you are. Like you're going to get enough points. You have a good chance at getting into the end zone just on pure volume. So love Deontay Johnson this week. Stephon Diggs is another one I think that goes too late for his usage with Tank Dell out. Um, I'm not worried about Nico's injury, but he does have one. So, like in the off chance that Nico does sit, Stephon Diggs would become a huge, huge value where he's going. Um, and then some like
Yeah. Or
farther
if he
down, scroll
aggravates
down.
it or if he aggravates it in
Yeah, yeah,
game,
yeah.
then that's like huge. Yeah. Sorry, but go ahead.
Yeah, and then some scroll down guys. Jaden Reed. We talk about the Packers game and Vikings game plenty now. Debo looks like he's going to play. I'm assuming he's healthy. His usage was crazy good in the first few weeks this season, and I know it's not an awesome game environment, but with McCaffrey out, Kittle potentially banged up as well, makes Debo really interesting. Um, Terry McLaurin, if you get Jaden Daniels. Rashid Shaheed now becomes kind of interesting with Chris Olave potentially missing. We don't have him projected out or anything yet, but Shaheed definitely would go way up if Olave misses. I kind of like taking T. Higgins just because I'm not taking a lot of Chase, just as some leverage there that Higgins is the guy that gets the ball against the Panthers. Um, there's a lot of wide receivers I feel like late this week that I'm totally fine taking as like last round flyers.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's a lot I like. I'm taking Reed the most, but yeah, you make compelling cases for a lot of these guys. I will say we kind of talk about this every week between me and Jake and debate this. I would say that this week is probably the best we've had of the season so far in terms of doing 3 wide receiver builds. So
Mm-hmm.
I kind of always default to very heavy 2 running back builds, but yeah, there's a lot of guys that are going to have basically 0 ownership that can really pop down here, in my opinion. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's a
think
lot of where the injuries are this week that we don't really know about yet. So like there's a chance a lot of these guys just fall into much better spots than they otherwise would have been.
yeah, exactly. And I say this every week, and we haven't had like a good hit for it yet. But Sunday morning, when inactives are out, there are usually still contests that are drafting at that point. Everything doesn't usually fill until about 12:30. So if we hear, for example, that Chris Olave is out or whatever, then I will fire up some drafts and take Shaheed in the last round because so much of the contests have already drafted, you know that you're getting him at reduced ownership. So let's move over to tight end here. I think this started for me as like the grossest tight end slate week I could ever remember. It's gotten a little bit better. We have George Kittle now likely playing, so he is kind of single-handedly saved this tight end slate for me. I do still think Goddard is really good. I still want to be taking a lot of Goddard. See, I say that, but then we can get the surprise AJ Brown active, right? So yeah, it's actually a lot of uncertainty here. I'm trying for a top 3 guy as much as I can get. I just don't consider Travis Kelce a top 3 guy. So Goddard, Bowers, Kittle is who I'm trying to stick to. If I miss on them or I get sniped, I'm so sorry, guys, but I think Zach Ertz is viable this week. Not just because he's a cheap and fairly unique way to stack with Daniels, which is always nice, but also the schematic matchup. Arizona plays a lot of zone. Ertz is a functional NFL receiver against zone coverage. That's the most I can say for the corpse of Zach Ertz at this point. But look, it's the tight end position. It's just if Zach Ertz scores, he's in one of the higher total games, 49 point over under, then he easily just is optimal, right? So yeah, I'm expecting a lot of Ertz on my teams. But what about you, Chris? How are you kind of handling the tight end position?
Yeah, early in the week, I think there was 3 tight ends that I was interested in, and that was it. And it was Goddard, Bowers, and Colby Parkinson, which I don't get why everyone doesn't like Colby Parkinson. He had a 21% target share last week. It just didn't turn into anything. There's still no Cup. There's still no Puka. We were all excited to use him last week, and virtually nothing has changed for him this week. He's playing a Bears defense that is mediocre, but can get things moving on offense enough to push the Rams to throw the ball. The Rams came out and played a ton more 12 personnel last week, which lets Parkinson run more routes than he otherwise probably would. So I think Parkinson is my preferred last round guy. I'm fine with like Ertz as well. Like you said, I'm not really interested in Kelce. Kittle is now interesting now that he is definitely playing. I'm pretty sure he actually said he was playing. And if Debo doesn't play and Kittle does, then yeah, Kittle's going to look really good this week.
Yeah, George Kittle. Sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to see, because you said with Goddard and if AJ Brown does play, we have about 32% of the targets going to some combination of Johnny Wilson and Jahan Dotson. That can pretty much just all go to AJ Brown. So Goddard, I don't think is a bad pick, even if AJ Brown does suit up.
Okay, good. Yeah, that makes me feel better. I felt like I was having that realization mid-show when I'd already had my take and gotten my exposure started to Goddard. But yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. Not a lot of other target commanders in that offense right now. I will say on Kittle, averages I think over 18 underdog fantasy points per game in games that Deebo Samuel or Brandon Ayuk misses. So yeah, if we get that condensed target tree without all of the weapons in San Francisco, then I think Kittle becomes the best tight end pick of the slate. It also helps that 40 or 50% of the main contest had drafted before Kittle was listed as I don't know. I think it was a limited practice today. Before we got the report that he was likely playing, Kittle's ADP was like tight end 5, tight end 6. He was not getting taken in every draft. So you are going to be well under 100% exposed versus the field if you're taking Kittle, even now that he's more expensive and is looking like he's going to play. So yeah, I'm happy to be heavy on Kittle as well. I think that pretty much does it for the slate. So Chris, let's hop into some drafts. We can just start with a normal battle royale draft. Yeah, we're at 47, 48% fill. So that'll be that. I think that helps, honestly. I think that makes me like Kittle materially more, just because I know that the ownership on him will be a bit lower. So we draw. Sorry, go ahead.
at best, what does that make Kittle? Like the 55% owned at something like that? Like at most, because he probably wasn't being drafted in more than like 5-ish% of drafts so far.
So I think his ADP early in the week was tight end 6, tight end 5, tight end 6 with Trey McBride, but there certainly were people that were not willing to take a potentially injured Kittle or a potentially injured McBride. And obviously the McBride people, the people who took Kittle got the best of that. The people who didn't take, or who took McBride did not. But yeah, I think it'll be more than 55%, but I don't think it's going to be more than 75%. And that's still decent. So yeah, I'm happy we take
right,
it wherever we can get.
People that were taking him where it was in the last round, and like, who cares if you're swapping that for some other last round tight end, that because they're all the same at that point.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we talked about it. We can just go Saquon 101 here. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's actually harder to build from the 101 so far. That's my opinion. It's just all of the it just becomes hard to get like an elite wide receiver, and then I'm like, okay, am I reaching on a QB? Am I going tight end? It's a little I don't know. What have you preferred, the back so far this week, Chris, or drafting from the front?
I haven't gotten a ton of 101s so far in the drafts I've done, just out of chance, but I definitely have liked when I'm in that 2, 3, 4 spot and I get one of those big 3 wide receivers I was talking about earlier. I think it's because I'm fine with the running backs that I can still get on the way back around.
Yeah, no, I hear you there. Yeah, and we've got a couple running backs that we're going to be able to choose between here. I do have our rankings based on our projections loaded in here as well, and we can be switching back and forth from ADP. But I think I don't know. I just said at the top of the show that you don't need to go RB, but I like the combination of Saquon and Kyren. At least it's interesting to me. Just because that won't be super easy to get. Kyron's gone anyway, but so we could go Kamara here. We could go Goddard. I don't know. Do you have a lean here, Chris?
I think Kamara makes sense because and then for the next one, yeah, it would be between Goddard or Godwin for me. Godwin, there's definitely other receivers in that range, so I don't think you have to do that one. It is stacked with Barkley already, or you could just do Goddard and kind of just do a Philly. I don't know. I think if you really want Saquon to pay off as the 101, you probably take somebody other than Goddard.
That's a good call. Yeah. I've caught myself on that multiple times drafting from the 101 of, I got to get my tight end. But yeah, no, you can't. I don't think you can go with Goddard and Barkley on the same team this week unless you're,
especially now that other tight end options have opened up. If it was what it was earlier in the week, I would say I don't care because there's just not enough tight ends. But now that like Kittle is an option, Bowers looks a lot better with Adams and Michael Mayer out.
Yeah, no, I was, speaking of Brock Bowers, I was being yelled at on Twitter today for kind of just throwing a little cold water from like a schematic perspective. I don't want to go super into it, but the long and short of it is that Bowers has basically had all of his production against like too high shells and zone coverages, whereas the Browns are very single high heavy, very man heavy, very cover one heavy. So people were pretty upset when I was out there on the Twitter streets today, saying I wasn't immediately in love with Bowers on this slate just because of Adams being out. I don't know. Obviously, from a projection standpoint, I imagine he has to soak up a good bit of that target share. How are you kind of handling the Raiders? Are you like all in on Bowers? Yeah, where are you at on that debate?
So like you said, we actually, I didn't even necessarily know that those stats you were running off, but we were a little bit lower on him initially. But with you take Adams and Mayer out, there's only so much volume that Jacoby Myers and Trey Tucker and Harrison Bryant are going to soak up. So now Bowers looks pretty good. I mean, we have him for a 23.5% target share, which would be the highest of his season. So yeah, he's going to project well. There's really no way around it.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. Yeah, I'm not really interested in like fading him for Battle Royale where, you know, it's I'm just looking for the highest ceiling at the tight end position. That can be more of a main slate take for me. So I think here
I kind of like now that Goddard slipped though, I kind of like just doing Goddard Hurts and just say we have the right game on the slate.
Just yeah, I don't mind that at all. Yeah, because that's going to be just based on ADP. That's a difficult combination to get. So yeah, if that game goes off, then we're absolutely golden. So I like that call a lot. Yeah, that's something I try to think about a lot in Battle Royale is what combinations are like available to me that won't necessarily be available that often to other people. And yeah, I mean, just being able to scoop up the 3 best projected Eagles who are all some of the best projected at their respective positions. Yeah, I think you could do a lot worse than that. So we're just going to be looking, I guess, at a wide receiver now when we get to the end. I don't think we even need to necessarily do like a heavy scroll down just because, like as I was saying, this is going to not be a super highly owned combination, getting Barkley and Hurts and Goddard. So if Deontay somehow makes it to us, I think he's clearly the pick, but I'll scroll through and you can tell me any other thoughts you're having, Chris.
Yeah, you could do AJ Brown. No, that's too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, Deontay would definitely be the best out. Terry McLaurin, maybe. Although I kind of like not having him with our bet on Hurts over Daniels. Yeah,
Drake London is someone I expected to like this week, but there's just so many other guys I like more. But yeah, I don't know.
Jaden Reed for sure.
Yeah, but so Deontay is going to project better than Reed, right? And
yes, for sure.
Yeah, and I don't think.
I mean
Yeah, like I said, I'm not too concerned about our total ownership here with this.
No.
With this, so I think we just go Deontay. We'll draft Jaden Reed plenty up tonight, I'm sure. Go ahead.
Do you think Goddard slipping is because of AJ Brown coming in as listed as questionable though? Like, is that something you think will start to happen in more drafts?
Potentially.
I haven't noticed him doing it yet, but I'm curious if you've noticed him ever, how often he actually slips.
I haven't noticed. So I was just doing a few drafts before the show, and I haven't really noticed him slipping more than like to the end of round 3 is about as far as I've seen him get. I have not seen him get to the 4-5 turn. So I don't know. I could see like Bowers jumping him, but I'd be pretty surprised if people start drafting like Kelsey and Kittle over him consistently. But yeah, I'm not sure.
So I bet you're right. Bowers will flip him for sure, I think.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. But yeah, I don't think he's gonna be the tight end 4 by Sunday morning or anything. So let's get into a bit of a different contest. This is the Engage 8. This is my favorite contest to draft. It's the first one that I try to max every week. Basically just kind of gives you 8 entries, which is nice. It's better than 1 entry, better than 3 entries, but it's still a small enough field where it makes sense to do a lot of heavy correlation. So if we had just drafted that team that we had with all the Eagles in the Engage 8, I would have been so much happier in the smaller field. But even in the main Battle Royale, I think that's fine. But the correlation just becomes so much better in these smaller field contests. So this, I don't. If it's not going to fill, then we can get out of here. Yeah, I don't want to sit and wait. But That's strange. You engage 8 usually fills pretty quickly for me. So we can just hop in another regular battle royale. And maybe after this draft, we can try to get into a single entry or something and see if we can get that to go. But yeah.
How much do you guys care about your correlation in these big ones? Because I think stacking's pretty overrated. I know we just did it, but it was like in a unique way. But in general, I'm in the battle royale size stuff. I'm definitely not trying to force stacks, really.
Yeah, I agree there. So in the larger field stuff, I definitely, like, personally as a drafter, I stack more than I should. I know I do it more than is probably optimal. Yeah, I don't think you, so yeah, if you have a mobile quarterback, you don't have to stack at all. Like it's fine to have a bring back, but you definitely don't have to stack. I like like pocket passer plus one pass catcher if I'm drafting a pocket passer, but beyond that, you really don't need to in the larger fields. I do think it's pretty powerful in the smaller fields, but the times where I am trying to stack heavily in battle royale is if there's a scroll down I particularly like. So right now, for example, this week, Jaden Reed projects amazing for us. I want to have good exposure to him. I have kind of a conviction take on that game going higher than the total. So I'm probably going to have a lot of like Darnold plus Jefferson plus Jaden Reed in the main contest, but that's going to be pretty slate dependent. I don't think you have to do stuff like that every week at all. But yeah, I don't know. Any thoughts on that? I feel like I'm kind of, yeah, I sometimes I don't know if I am doing it too much. I have a better like, or who do you want to go here? You want to go Jefferson or Rice?
Yeah, either one's fine with me.
Okay, let's go Jefferson since I was just talking about that game. But yeah, sometimes I feel like I have good takes and I know the theory, and then when I'm actually getting in and doing 50 plus drafts every weekend and kind of doing 2 at a time or on my phone or whatever, I'm like, I'm not doing this correctly right now.
Yeah, because it feels good. It feels good to have the stack.
Yeah, it's like a dopamine rush where you're like, oh yeah, I just sneak that in. Do we like Kyron here the most, or do we want to go with
I would
Godwin?
I'd do Kyron because Love and Darnold are options for us right now.
Yeah, definitely.
So we like
Yeah,
Jaden
and
Daniels
I
would
just
probably be
talked
the other guy.
about yep. Yeah, and I just talked about Jaden Reed, so want to leave that wide receiver slot open as well. So I think Kyron there makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think stacking in this format is way different than like DFS, which most people are used to doing it for. You have way more spots to fill in a DFS lineup than you do in this six man thing, and a bunch of guys are not drafted in this. Like in DFS, any player can be used by anybody. Certain guys are used more than others, obviously, but anyone is available to everybody. In this, your only choices are the guys that are available when your pick comes up, and then a ton of viable guys are not even used at all. I think it's a much bigger edge to take guys that aren't being drafted much than it is to try to get correlation boosts, just because you get that right 5-10% owned guy, 20% owned guy. That's huge for you compared, unlike anything you're able to get in DFS, where it's, yeah, you might get a 1%, 5% owned guy go off in DFS, but there's everyone can have, there can be multiple of those every single week because there's anyone can use anybody.
Yeah, no, I think the biggest like plus EV pick you can make is just the running back that scores multiple touchdowns that is 5% owned. That just gives you a huge advantage. I don't know what we want to do here. We could go to a Connor.
Bowers, and assuming that we think his ADP will continue to go up, and it's, this might be something you can't do.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot. Yeah, that, and it's good to take care of tight end as well. Because yeah, we were talking about a Green Bay Minnesota stack. Nothing available really there at tight end that we're interested in. Tucker Kraft, I don't know. No, probably not. Okay, so I think it makes sense to fill running back here.
Yeah,
We
I like
have
James
Taylor
Conner.
and Robinson the highest in our stuff. Connor is leverage. You want to just go
Oh, yeah,
Connor?
Taylor's still there?
Taylor's
Yeah, I
here.
didn't know
Yep.
Taylor was still there. Yeah, I would do Taylor.
Yep. Yeah.
So
Yeah. You
his
got,
usage was weird this week. So like 2 weeks ago, they say he gets asked why isn't he playing in the fourth quarter, and him and Steichen basically come out and say I don't like he's not our passing down guy, more or less. And then this past week he ran. I'd have to look it up, but I think he had like an 11. Let's see. Yeah, he had almost a 12% target share and ran 80% of the routes. So what happened? Why did it, was 2 weeks ago like a punishment thing? Did they not like the way he was running? I don't know. But running 80% of the routes is pretty big. Like that's a big deal. And I don't think this is a game where they get up like huge on the Steelers defense. So like I think it'll be a competitive game. So I'm guessing he'll be out there like pretty much no matter what.
yeah, no, I agree. I've kind of been laughing at the Jonathan Taylor roller coaster with the route share, because I think in week 1 as well he was running a lot of routes, but yeah, there was that just really weird Shane Steichen comment about we were passing, so he isn't in the game in the fourth quarter after week 2. But yeah, I agree with you. I think it probably just sticks to him being a bell cow.
Right. It's one thing if like they said, "Oh yeah, like that was intentional." Like we don't. I like Deontay here. If you want to take him.
Okay. Yeah, I was
Um,
thinking we could do Reed for the bring back, but I just want a lot of Deontay as well. Yeah, and we just talked about
and
us
Reed might
stacking
make it.
overrated.
Oh yeah, but he'd be our
We
last
have one spot
receiver.
left, so only
Right. Yeah.
Um,
So it's got to be.
okay.
Yeah, I don't think you have to force the bring
Yeah.
back. Deontay is farly or much higher projected for it. Like that's a perfect example of not forcing the correlation because Deontay is such a better projection guy for us.
Yes. And did we? Oh no. Okay. I'm in the wrong tab. Darnold was lower than I was expecting because of the rankings. I thought we thought we got sniped on Sam Darnold there for a second. I was about to get very, very upset. But we're cool with just finishing this with Darnold. We could go Dalton if you like him, but I'll leave it up to you.
I would do Darnold. The other guy I would consider would be Burrow on the other side of the Deontay thing. And he projects well, but I'm fine doing Darnold with the Jefferson pick already.
All right. Yeah, trying to get my Darnold exposure up. I do like the Burrow call. Kind of with what you were talking about earlier with taking T Higgins, because I am also not really interested in taking Jamar Chase to make the Burrow stacks work in the first round, but I may end up with either some Burrow with Deontay bring back or Burrow Higgins. I think that's an interesting angle. We're supposed to review the team after each time. I completely forgot. So this was the team we just drafted. Justin Jefferson with the Sam Darnold stack. We got Deontay Johnson. I suspect he might end up on a lot of our teams in this stream. Brock Bowers feeling pretty good at tight end. I like this team a lot. I think we projection maxed, and I think that Darnold at very low ownership is a play I like a lot this week.
Yep, I agree.
All right.
The other thing about Burrow is
Go ahead. I'm just looking for a contest. Go ahead.
Okay. The other thing about Burrow is I don't like he feels like a pocket passer that you have to stack, but with the way the offense kind of works, I don't think you have to at all. Just because. So we saw Yoshivas score last week. He had like probably around 12 underdog points or something like that. Um, T Higgins wasn't super involved, but like if you took just like some of the usage from Chase and gave it to Higgins, which would be very possible, they all would have been like fine, but none of them like had to have it. So like I think Burrow in a good matchup could easily spread the ball around where none of Chase, Higgins, or Yoshivas are like you had to have it guys.
Yeah, no, I hear you there. I should look at the comments. I have not looked at the comments a single time. We do have a few questions here. Fields or T-Law / Kyron or Brees DFS this week. Okay. So this is a 2v2 that we're asking about. I think I like Fields this week. I think we expect Najee to be pretty chalky. So Fields, I think, makes some sense. I'm big on George Pickens with the schematic matchup as well in DFS. So I think that's a single stack that you can roll out there this week. I don't know. Do you have any big thoughts on Fields, T-Law, or Kyron or Brees, Chris?
It would be Fields and I think Kyron for me, unless I could see maybe in PP, depending on what DFS site you're playing in DraftKings, where the PPR is better. Brees might come out a little bit better than Kyron, but it's definitely Fields over T-Law. T-Law's a little scary right now. He does not look good at all. And I don't know how much better it gets this week versus Houston, right? Yeah, Houston. I think they'll be throwing a lot. It's just something is not working with them. I mean, Press Taylor, the QB coach, as a Eagles fan, when he was with Doug Peterson in Philly with Wentz and Hurts, like it just doesn't work. And it seems like Press Taylor's once again ruining another promising young QB for somehow. And he just no QB has played better the more time that he's spent under Press Taylor as their QB coach. So it doesn't look great for Lawrence right now, unfortunately. There's very few QBs I wouldn't want to play over Trevor Lawrence right now.
Yeah, no, it's like that game I just am scared of. Coming into the week, I feel like that so many people message me like, "Oh, you should be so excited to like write up this game. It's gonna like it could be a shootout. Like the Jaguars play all this man defense, like the Texans, and Nico Collins is going to destroy it." But I feel like Lawrence kind of just looking like this game, the game might not be competitive is part of the reason that I've been having pause. And then, just the Nico Collins and midweek hamstring. There's so many things kind of messing with me with that game. So I share kind of your concerns. Let's do a Rice team. What do you think?
Yeah, I like doing Rice
Right.
team. Why do you think Rice is not being talked about as like a top, I think a top 3 receiver, but even like a top 5 fantasy receiver this year?
I mean, I think that part of it is going to be like the Amon-Ra St. Brown effect too. I think people maybe are just like watch Rashee Rice on TV and they're like, oh, all he's doing is like running slants every time. And he has like a 6.5 average depth of target. Like this guy doesn't look or feel to me like an alpha fantasy wide receiver one. But guess what, guys? It's in a PPR league, Rashee Rice is always going to project amazing, right? So I don't know. I think I think people were hesitant to get on board with Amon-Ra for a while, and I think it's similar with Rice. What do you like here? I like Kyron, obviously. We could go like a Jaden Daniels team. It might be a little early for that. We can go Goddard.
Want to do Kamara and hope that like Olave misses or something like that?
I'm cool with Kamara. Yeah, let's do it. Then we could get a just I feel like Rice plus a QB you don't need to stack can be good. Just because for the second wide receiver spot, I just feel like I want to take Deontay Johnson every single time. So it might make sense to go a Kyler, go a Daniels, to kind of facilitate that and let us do that. I don't know.
Yeah, we could do. Yeah, I like taking either Kyler or I guess no, Kyler's still there. Kyler or Daniels.
Yep. All right, so we can go with Jade and Daniel. Oh wait, no, we're not up yet. I got
this guy. I think is going to take. He'll probably take a receiver. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So we can go Daniels here. yeah, this leaves us pretty wide open to kind of do whatever
because you
we
don't have
want.
to stack him.
Yeah. Yeah, I like this a lot. Looking at tight end, sort by ADP. Yeah, all the tight ends still on the board. Tight end just in general is falling down boards more than I would have expected early in the week. Like I think my initial take before we knew like that Kittle was playing and before we knew Adams was out was that Goddard should just be like a round 2 pick. I don't think the scarcity is there as much now, but yeah, I'm just surprised to see all these tight ends kind of lasting until the 3rd round, the 4th round. So I mean, I think
a little bit of like overconfidence, right? Then people now having more feeling like they have better options with Bowers looking better and Kittle opening up. And now everyone's like, oh, I'll just push it. But like, yeah, I would just take Goddard here probably.
Yeah, I think we go Goddard, and then figure out the running back position. Yeah, because
we don't even need
the
it. It
end
could
of the
be,
tier.
or we could just do. Well, there'll probably still be a running back too that we like.
That's the thing, yeah. Is there? Like I was saying, there's just so much value on this slate. Like Deontay hangs around so much. One of Taylor, Robinson, or Jones is almost always going to be available, like in the last round or two. Yeah, I haven't had to. I wanted to scroll down to Najee a lot this week, and I have barely had to do it yet. It's just there's so much value on this slate. It's kind of insane.
We probably should force some Najee this week, just like he could easily fall into like 30 touches and like 2 touchdowns and 100 yards or something like that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. So if we go Najee with the last pick, we're looking at a wide receiver. We can go Reed. We can go McLaurin.
I mean, we can do McLaurin or Reed. I'm fine with either one.
Yeah, I had to cue somebody, but and then I like this, and we can finish it up with Najee. Yeah,
Najee's. I didn't realize how many other running backs it took to get like Najee should be going higher. There's no reason for this.
Yeah, and this is kind of, I really like Battle Royale for this reason, where every week there are kind of chalky running backs in DFS that I'm extremely GPP brained in when I'm building my lineup. So I am always just looking for reasons to fade the chalk if I have any sort of negative take or negative angle on a guy. I'm like, I don't need to play Najee Harris this week, but you can play Najee Harris in Battle Royale at very low ownership this week, which is great. So I like trying to get my exposure to the running backs who project really well that are chalky on the main in Battle Royale. So we just got sniped. So we can go. We can do Aaron Jones. Yeah. That gives us a little bit of mini correlation.
Yeah, and McLaurin went. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. These guys might be watching the stream, Chris. I don't know.
Yeah. I would do Jones. I was going to say maybe AJ Brown, but we already took Goddard, and we don't have like Hurts or anything.
Yep. No, I like this though. It's always when you're drafting a naked QB, I do like to get a little bit of correlation. Definitely not required, but yeah, I'm a man of the dopamine, Chris. I gotta feel like I have some correlation. Feel like I
would look pretty, right?
Like I'm a shark in here. Yeah, it looks much nicer. It's definitely just like best ball brain though. Like I'm drafting on Underdog. I feel like I should be correlating constantly all the time. So we can. Oh, it's not this team. I don't know if it's going to show up. It doesn't always. That's fine. We don't need to review the team. So I think we can try to hop in one more quickly. I really want to get into one of these single entries or into one of the engage 8s or just something. So let's see if this fills. But yeah, no, I liked in that last one where I was talking through like, oh, I feel like we haven't taken Najee at all, and I wanted to, but it's like the realization of, oh, anybody else that likes Najee is probably feeling like running back is really deep and they never have to get to him. So maybe we can get him this time, but this is just not going to fill. We usually have good luck with this. I feel like, I don't know if Jake just has like the touch for getting a contest to fill when we're on stream.
Getting them in.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll do one final normal battle royale. Sorry guys that there wasn't as much variety this week in terms of the contests. Okay, we got one from the turn though, so we can do something kind of different here. All right. What I see another question in chat. These are my least favorite sit start questions. It's sit one, Amon-Ra, Chase, or Rice. Like these are not actual sit start questions. This is not a person actually looking for help with their fantasy team. This is someone that is trying to brag on the internet that I have to sit one of these players.
Yeah, just flip a coin. That's the answer.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know how many like 10-man style or like that size of regular old fantasy leagues you still play in, but like I still have one with like people I went to college with, and it's just always been 10. And man, making those start decisions when you have guys like that to choose from has got to be one of the worst feelings in the world every week, because you know you're going to get it wrong like every single week, but there's nothing you could have done about it.
Yeah, you're making me feel bad for the guy in chat now, Chris. I feel like I should actually give him a take and help him.
There is no take. There's no answer.
I'll try. I guess I'd sit Chase of those three, but yeah, man, it's good luck. I don't play in many like smaller or less deep redraft leagues like that anymore. All my like 10-team leagues are dynasties, but there's usually like 5 flexes and 3 wide receiver spots in them. So it's like I'm just playing who's the highest projected every week, man. Like there is too many potential start sit decisions to even sweat over, and it's always just kind of made for you. It's whoever is actually projected for a role in a given week, because it's just so deep. Okay, so we can go Rashi here. We could also try the Marvin Harrison, Kyler Murray angle I talked about before, where you kind of reach for them and end up with a more unique build. What are you thinking, Chris?
We can try that and see if it pans out and how we like it.
All right, let's do it. So we'll go Harrison, and we will go for the Kyler reach. I did this a couple times before the stream, and I ended up pretty happy. You're really hoping that like a top 4 tight end falls to you, and after that, if that happens, then you're pretty much good. And that's been happening for us so far tonight. So hopefully the luck continues there. I do feel annoyed giving Rashid at 8th overall though to the guy with the red shield. That's I feel like I'm maybe the fish in this lobby when I do stuff like that. But
you think Tyler can? He probably doesn't really ever make it back.
I have not seen Kyler make it back to the 3-4 turn. Yeah. Although I mean, I guess Hertz did it with us tonight, so it's possible. But
he probably should be, right? Like it's not like there's another obvious stacking partner that people. Because with McBride not available, what are people taking Kyler and then saying I'm going to get Michael Wilson or Dortch or Elijah Higgins, or like maybe they're doing that, but he probably should be making it back to that turn.
Yeah, I don't know. I think people are just primed and happy to go naked QB this week. Jake and I were talking about this in the context of the main slate. It's so many of these games I have trouble having a lot of conviction in. Like last week, I was very, for better or worse, very convicted on Derek Carr. I was like, okay, this whole Saints Eagles game environment is amazing. Like I want to play 50% on the main slate. I did. It didn't go well, but there are just no spots like that this week, I felt like the Texans could have turned into it, but that, yeah, as I was saying before, there's been a lot of road bumps kind of through the week with that one. So I think people want to go naked quarterback. I don't think there are these stacks that people are getting super excited about. And yeah, just with Kyler going where he is and Harrison going where he is, I just think it makes a lot of sense to do that reach because it'll be really uncommon. So we have our pick between Goddard or Kittle at tight end here. I might want to mix in some Kittle for my exposures, but I'm okay wherever you're leaning there, Chris.
We can do Kittle.
Kamara makes it here as well.
Yeah, I was going to say Kamara's got to be one of these picks, I think.
Yeah. All right.
Then,
so we can.
I think Kittle's fine.
Okay. So we got Kamara and we can go Kittle. Yeah. So let's say, I don't know if you can, how quickly you can run this or if you have an instant lean, but if Debo's out and AJ Brown is in, is Kittle projecting above Goddard, do you think?
Let me see where they are right now with each other. So with AJ out, I have Kittle 2.3 points behind Goddard with AJ out and Debo projected in. So yeah, Kittle would probably flip Goddard.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, just need need an angle to feel good about what we just did. But I appreciate that.
He would for sure. Like if I even just give Kittle, let's just see what even that does. It takes like a 5%. Not even a 5. It takes like a 3% bump in target share for Kittle to flip Goddard. So that would definitely happen with AJ Brown plus Debo out.
That's good stuff.
So one of our last picks probably makes sense to be AJ Brown for this actually then.
Oh, I like it. Yeah, you're telling we're really telling a story there. I love that a lot.
And if he doesn't suit up, then we get probably Deontay Johnson or Jaden Reed or something.
It's a dot. Okay, yeah. The dots mess me up on Underdog. I can't.
You never know if they have the dots or not. Yeah.
Yep. I never know if they have it in here. I never know if they have it in the exports. Yeah, the dots drive me nuts. There's no consistency kind of anywhere in the industry for any player's name. It's kind of a weird. Yeah. We've sidestepped it with like the IDs, I guess, around the industry. But yeah, it's just I wish we could agree on what these guys' names are. That seems like it would make more sense.
The NFL can't even agree what the guys' names are. We have to do ID mapping sources for back end NFL stuff. It's a nightmare.
Yeah. Wasn't Tank Dell like tweeting this week that my name is not Nathaniel Dell, it's Tank Dell. Like I don't know if that was triggered by his name showing up somewhere official like that. But so we can go Brown here. And for running back, Taylor is here. Robinson is here, which I think is nice since we took Kyler instead of
yeah, I was gonna say Robinson, or unless you wanted to force a Najee in, but
I don't think you have to force a Najee in because part of the benefit of Najee is the ownership, and I think we're feeling okay about ownership with Kyler and Harrison. And Brown, obviously. So yeah, I think we can go Robinson. Yeah, I really like that team a lot. That's looking pretty good. Yeah, this is probably one of my favorites, just with the AJ Brown being in and taking Kittle over Goddard angle. Yeah, you can. I love these drafts because you can tell yourself a story literally as you're drafting to justify your own decisions, and it just kind of creates a path for you that feels very, very good.
I'm probably going to start really forcing some last round AJ Brown. I mean, like we've talked about, there's plenty of last round receivers that we like. So if he doesn't suit up and you get swapped to whatever highest guy was available in that one, but if he does, I mean, we'd have to assume he's healthy, which I don't know why he would suit up if he wasn't. Like he's going to project. If I had to guess, let's see where you'd project.
I guess I should think about my swap rankings right now too if Brown doesn't come in. So like this team, you could kind of go anywhere with this team. Jaden Reed not drafted in this lobby, so that's probably what I'd do is just throw Reed up at the top of my swap rankings for this.
Yeah.
That's actually that. I feel like I'm more willing to draft like the injured guys like Brown on these types of slates where there are a lot of scroll downs that I like at his position, just because it makes the swap ranking stuff a lot easier. What did you have? Did you have an update on that AJ Brown
So
thing you were running?
On a like a just super quick calculation, he'd be like wide receiver minimum, wide receiver like 8-ish range. So that is your last pick. Sounds pretty darn good.
Yeah, no, it's definitely very nice. So we are a little bit over an hour, so I think that is going to wrap it up for us tonight. Chris, tell the people where they can find you and anything you want to shout out or promote.
On Twitter at ChrisWechtFF, mostly behind the scenes here at FantasyPoints, doing stuff powering the data suite, which if you don't have a subscription to, you absolutely should. We have some of the best data. We have the best data in the game. Separation data has been on fire so far this year. Excited to see what that brings in the future as we collect more and more of it. So I highly recommend getting the data suite. It's what powers all of our content, all of our projections. Everything we do is powered by all the data we collect, and you guys can get it for yourselves. We don't hold anything for ourselves. It's all available.
Yeah, no, it's insane, man. I remember like just thinking back to creating content before the FantasyPoints data suite it's hard for me to even conceive of now. Just like what we're able to do and what the type of stuff we're able to pull with the coverage shells, with the separation. It's all amazing stuff. So yeah, definitely make sure you check that out, guys. I am Ryan Heath. You can find me on Twitter at RyanJ_Heath. Thanks for hanging out and drafting with us tonight, guys. Good luck in week 4.
What? Why are you shaking your head? You're welcome.